Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text number 20-21. Yam manyase matuleyam. Yam manyase matuleyam. Priyam mitram suhruttamam. Priyam mitram suhruttamam. Akaroho sachivam dutam. Akaro sachivam dutam. Sauhrudat ata saratim. Sauhrudat ata saratim. Yam manyase matuleyam. Priyam mitram suhruttamam. Akaro sachivam dutam. Sauhrudat ata saratim. Yam manyase matuleyam. Priyam mitram suhruttamam. Akaro sachivam dutam. Sauhrudat saratim. Yam, the person. Manyase, you think. Matuleyam, maternal cousin. Priyam, very dear. Mitram, friend. Suhruttamam, ardent well-wisher. Akaroho, executed. Sachivam, counsel. Dhutam, messenger. Sauhrudat, by goodwill. Ataha, thereupon. Saratim, charioteer. Translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. O King, that personality whom, out of ignorance only, you thought to be your maternal cousin, your very dear friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, is that very personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Please repeat the translation. O King, that personality whom, out of ignorance only, you thought to be your maternal cousin, your very dear friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor, is that very personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Sri Krishna, although acting as the cousin, brother, friend, well-wisher, counselor, messenger, benefactor of the Pandavas, was still the supreme personality of Godhead. Out of his causeless mercy and favor upon his unalloyed devotees, he performs all kinds of service. But that does not mean he has changed his position as the absolute personality. To think of him as an ordinary man is the grossest type of ignorance. Next verse I will recite myself. Sarvatmana samadrusho hi advayasya anahankrutehe tat krutam mati vaishamyam niravadyasya na kvachit. Being the absolute personality of Godhead, he is present in everyone's heart. He is equally kind to everyone and he is free from the false ego of differentiation. Therefore, whatever he does is free from material inebriety. He is equibalanced. Purport. Because he is absolute, there is nothing different from him. He is the Kaivalya, there is nothing except himself. Everything and everyone is manifestation of his energy, and thus he is present everywhere by his energy, being non-different from it. The sun is identical with every inch of the sun rays and every molecular particle of the rays. Similarly, the Lord is distributed by his different energies. He is Paramatma, the super soul, present in everyone as a supreme guidance, and therefore he is already the chariot driver and counsel of all living beings. When he therefore exhibits himself as a chariot driver of Arjuna, there is no change in his exalted position. It is the power of devotional service only that demonstrates him as a chariot driver or as a messenger. Since he has nothing to do with the material conception of life because he is absolute spiritual identity, there is for him no superior or inferior action. Being the absolute personality of Godhead, he has no false ego, and so he does not identify himself with anything different from him. The material conception of ego is equibalanced in him. He does not feel, therefore, inferior by becoming the chariot driver of his pure devotee. It is the glory of the pure devotee that only he can bring about service from the affectionate Lord. Dasant the Bhakti Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Bhishma Deva was recognizing the position of Lord Krishna. He is carrying in last few verses. Now he is certifying what actually Krishna is. He is saying, En manyase matuleyam. You are thinking he is your maternal cousin. Because Kunti Devi and Vasudeva are brother and sister. So in that way they were cousins, first cousins, aunt's child. Priyam Mitram Suhruttamam. He is your Priyam Mitram, he is your very dear friend. Suhruttamam, he is your well-wisher, benefactor. Akaro Sachivam Dutam. He has executed various tasks. What category? Sachivam, he was your counsel. Whenever you require guidance, what to do? He acted like your counsel, guide. Dhutam, he acted as your messenger. Sauhrudat Ata Saradim. And out of affectionate thing, by his goodwill, he became your charioteer also. But since he has accepted all these positions, you do not treat him like any other personality. He is still the supreme personality of Godhead. His position has never changed. He might have accepted 100 roles, but he is the supreme personality of Godhead. So why this perspective is, Bhishma Deva is one of the certified Mahajanas. So he is ascertaining the position of Lord Krishna. So that people will not have any confusion in trying to relate to Lord Krishna. Because even in the assembly when Rajasuya Yajna was performed, there was one discussion who had to be offered this Agra Puja. So at that time different people were giving different references and all. But Bhishma Deva was the one who certified, yes, Lord Krishna is the original personality whom this Agra Puja has to be offered. He is the only worthy personality, he says. And in one more place he says also, Krishna is known as Anadi Brahmacharine Namaha. But we all see he married 16,000 queens. Then Krishna is how he is Anadi Brahmacharine. So he explains in that perspective, see, Krishna is so great, even though he is between 16,000 gopis or unlimited gopis where he was having rasa dance. Krishna's mind did not change. He did not got attracted to any bodily attraction. Bhishma Deva says, I am celebrated as a brahmachari. If I would have been in that position with women surrounding me, I am not sure of myself. So he is saying that's why Krishna is the ever greatest brahmachari. So he certified Lord Krishna. Now, on that basis, then out of perspective, in the purport Prabhupada says, out of his causeless mercy and favor upon his unalloyed devotees, he performs all kinds of service, but does not mean that he has changed his position as the absolute person. The devotee's mood and attraction, the bhava, brings down the position of the Lord to serve him. They conquer the Lord by their bhakti. Lord becomes purchased by the devotee. And further understanding of nature of the Supreme Lord, he said, okay, Krishna is Supreme Lord. If you say Supreme Lord, there should be some qualities. How I should know who is Supreme Lord? He should be enumerated some specific characteristics. Then he explains what are the characteristics of Lord Krishna. He says, Sarvatmanaha Samadrushaha. He is Sarvatmanaha, he is present in everyone's heart. He is the Paramatma. Samadrushaha, he is equivalent to all living entities. He does not discriminate up or down, good or bad. Samadrushahi. He Advayasya Anahankrutehe. He is the absolute Advayasya. No Dvayaha, there is no second to him. He is that one absolute Advayaha. Anahankrutehe, he is free from all material identities. There is no ahankara. For us we have ahankara. I am this body. For Lord there is no body, there is no spirit soul. He is that one person. There is no differentiation in his identity. Tatkrutam Mati Vaishamyam. All this is done because of Mati Vaishamyam, because we differentiate in our consciousness. But he does not discriminate in his consciousness. Niravadyasya na kvatish. He is freed from all material attachment. He does everything, but he is not attached to anything. Like suddenly, he is very much attached to gopis, but he will suddenly vanish from them. See, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, cows, calves, friends and everything, suddenly 16 years old, he went away from Vrindavan. He never came back. So, he is personification of renunciation also. So, Krishna's so unique thing is, all the 6 qualities he had exhibited in full. So, many of the Sampradayas also they accept. Krishna is the Paripurna avatar. They say Narayana is the Supreme. Krishna is the Paripurna avatar because he has exhibited all the opulences of the Lord in full, elaborately, unlimitedly. So here in that purport, Prabhupada explains, the absolute implies that nothing is different from him. Because the Lord and his energies, because the energies emanated from him, they are his extensions. So therefore he is Kaivalya. There is nothing except himself. That's what one of the shlokas of Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam says. Before the creation he existed, during the creation he existed, and after the creation he only existed. So it is one who existed, entire process. There is nothing except him. Then everything is manifestation of Lord's energy, and thus he is present everywhere by his energies. Because when he said Bhumirappanalo Vayu, the material world is made of Panchabhuta. So Panchabhuta is his energy. He says they are my separated energies. But actually for us they are separated from the Lord. For the Lord they are not separated. That's why when pure devotees, when they have darshan of the Lord in deity form, they see the personality, Supreme Lord. They don't see material elements there. There is one shloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Stavara Jangama Deke na Teka Taramurti, Saravatra Deke Nija Ishtadeva Spurti. They do not see moving and non-living entities. Stavara Jangama Deke na Deke Taramurti. They do not see the material forms when they see living entities either moving or non-moving. Sarvatra Deke Nija Ishtadeva Spurti. They see everywhere that Supreme Lord has expanded into various living entities. They perceive the Lord in every living entity because Paramatma is there in every living entity. They perceive that Paramatma in every living entity. That's why they are in the Uttamadhikari level. They perceive only Lord. They do not see anything out of relationship from the Lord. So Prabhupada gave with an analogy in the purport by saying sun rays and the sun. If you can see sun rays everywhere, the reflection also we can see the sun, that sun is present. So in that way, the Lord is there by his energies expanding. Next, he is manifested as a super soul, Sarvatmanaha. So being in the absolute, he is present in everyone's heart as a super soul and he is equally kind to everyone. He gives guidance to everyone, but it is up to us to receive or not. Sometimes we are very much favorable condition, we hear to him when it is coming from our heart. Sometimes we do not bother for him. He is ready to give us guidance, but we, being unfortunate, we sometimes accept and we do not accept sometimes. So therefore he exhibits himself as a chariot driver of Arjuna, so there is no change in his exalted position. He is already driving us. We see This entire body is a chariot that is described in Shastra. Body is a chariot. There are 5 horses, the 5 senses. The mind is the reins which control the horses. The intelligence is the driver. And the living entity is the passenger. This is what Shastra describes about this body as a chariot. Now where is Paramatma? The intelligence gets direction from Paramatma. So he's in that way, he's the chariot driver. So he's actually driving our body as a chariot. Then what is the difference for him to sit on a chariot physically? That's what Acharya is saying. There is no difference in his change of position. He's sitting there on the chariot. He's spiritually driving this body which is a chariot. So there is no change in his absolute position. The next, he is devoid of all material conceptions of life. Because he is free from false ego of differentiation, he does not discriminate. Then when people say, you say Lord does not discriminate, he is samadrishihi. But we see he is favorable to the demigods, he is not favorable to the demons. He always shows partiality towards his devotees. Why he is discriminating? So that's why Krishna says in 9th chapter, he says, Samoham sarvat bhuteshu name dveshastino na priyaha. Samaha aham, I am equal to everyone. Sarva bhuteshu, for all living entities. Na dveshasti na priyaha, somebody is not dear to me, somebody I envy or I leave them somebody. But why this differentiation comes? E bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapiham. For those who sincerely worship me, I am more for them. So Prabhupada explains with an analogy, everybody loves children. Whenever you see a small child, you go and pamper them. But you love your child more deeply. It's a similar situation. You may have 4 children. You equally treat all the children, you give them food. But one who listens to you, you take care of them very nicely. Same thing Krishna says. If they listen to me, I'll take care of them very nicely. If they don't listen to them, I'll give 3 times food, no botheration. When so many animals I am able to feed, what to see of these few insignificant people? And there are unlimited living entities, 84 lakh species. I am taking care of all living entities. Some children, sometimes they go away from me, astray from me. Okay, I'll take care of them still. So that is his compassionate nature. So there is no false ego implies he does not identify himself with anything differentiated from him. So the qualities what are here mentioned as Krishna's faultless qualities in this verse are Sarva Atmanaha, the first one, of one who is present in everyone's heart. Then Samadrishaha, one who is equally kind to one and all. Advayasya, he is that one absolute. Anaham Kritehe, he is free from material identity of false ego. Tat Krutam, everything is done by him. We think we are the doer. No, he is the doer. That's why in the Sankalpa mantra when we chant for festivals, Bhagavato Balena, Bhagavato Viryena, Bhagavata Karmana, Bhagavata Karma Karishyami. The Lord gives the energy, Lord gives the strength, Lord gives the intelligence, Lord gets the work done from us. So it is the Lord who is doing all the activities. We think out of Ahankara I am doing. But it is the Lord who is doing all the activities. That's why it is said as Tat Krutam, everything is done by him. So how? Mati Vaishamyam, he is free from material differentiation. Nirvadyasya, he is free from all attachment. So if I am doing, how can Lord say that he is doing? Because his body belongs to him. If I am doing means, see, a servant is doing one job. Now that job is done by servant or the master? So same thing here. I am the servant and Lord is the master. If I am doing something, Lord can claim, I am only doing no. That's why it is Tat Krutam. Everything is done by him only. So it is the power of devotion service only that demonstrates him as the chariot driver or the messenger. It is the glory of the pure devotee that only he can bring about service from the affectionate Lord. Because of the greatness of the pure devotees, they bring down the Lord to that level that they will be able to take service from the Lord. But not intentionally. There is a competition between the devotee and the Lord. The devotee wants to serve the Lord and the Lord wants to serve the devotee. So whenever there is an opportunity, devotee would like to extend his service, and whenever there is an opportunity, Lord find means and ways how to take care of his devotees. So similarly, this is one of the verses, this verse specifically, that Yan Manyase Matulayam. There are 3 verses which inspired Shukadeva Goswami to come back Because we know that Shukadeva Goswami, when he went to forest, as soon as he came out of the mother's womb, he went away to the forest. So, but later he came back and heard Srimad Bhagavatam from his father. So, how he heard and how he came back, they say reference that 3 verses were inspired by him. So, he became inspired by the 3 verses. This is that one of the verses. This is that one which glorifies the qualities of the Lord. Like one more verse was there which says, Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam. This glorifies about Krishna's compassion. Jigamshaya Apyayad Api Asadavi Leve Gatim Datri Uchitam Tato Anyam Kamba Dayalum Sharanam Rajema. Where Uddhava glorifies the position of Lord Krishna by saying, Aho Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam. There was one demon, Bakiyam, Putana. She had a desire to kill Krishna, Jigamshayati, Asadvi, she is not to be trusted. She came with a poison, but she transformed herself as a beautiful angel. And she declared, I am an angel and anybody who drinks my milk will become eternal. So Mother Yashoda became carried away. Hare, my baby will become eternal. She immediately handed over the baby. So Putana took her aside and she started giving the breastfeeding. So Krishna was so intelligent, he acted as if he was afraid of Putana for one moment. He closed his eyes by seeing Putana. So Acharyas say, why did he close his eyes? See, he closed his eyes in this material world because the first demon who is going to kill is a woman. So it is because generally women are not to be killed, but because she has acted in a negative perspective, so she had to be killed. So because he is killing a woman, so he closed his eyes. First perspective. The second reason they say is, Krishna wanted to give confidence to Putana. I am like a small boy, you can handle me. Or else Putana will never come closer. So to boost up the confidence of Putana, he is a small boy, easily can be handled. To boost up the confidence of Putana, he closed his eyes. Like that, various angles we can see the same situation. So here then Putana, she accepted Lord Krishna. When he started sucking the milk, he started sucking the life air out of Putana. At one particular point, Putana, she could not hold on to her form. She expanded into a huge structure. What is the size of Putana when she fell down? It was somewhere around some 6 miles or something like that. See, 6 miles means somewhere around almost 9.5 kilometers in stretch. Her body expanded to so much distance. And Mother Yashoda and Rohini, they are full of anxiety. Such a huge demon, where is baby Krishna, who is only 3 months old, might be 1 feet old, 1 feet in size. To be compared to that size of 6 kilometers or 9 kilometers. They started running everywhere behind that Putana where she is going. She fell down in a forest. They came out of full anxiety. They saw somewhere around when they saw Krishna baby playing on the body of Putana. It was like a playground for him. He is playing around there. So they all became relief from that anxiety. See, whenever Krishna accepted a specific role, he justified to that position. Now see the compassionate nature of the Lord. He says, Lebe gatim datri uchitam tato anyam. Who can be more merciful than the Lord? Tato anyam. Lebe, he delivered datri position, the position of Mother Yashoda. Datri means a nurse. When sometimes mothers cannot give milk, a nurse is employed to take care of the child. Ayal antar. So, in that way, she was given that position of a datri. Datri uchitam, which is that respective position, like a mother. Kamba dayalum sharanam prajema. Who, if a demon has been given so much opportunity, who had come with a small intention to serve the Lord, if one out of full heart, if he serves, what Krishna cannot give? So this is his Kimva Dayalam, who can be more merciful than the Lord. Then furthermore it says, Shukadeva Goswami initially elaborated Krishna Leela in very nutshell in 3-4 verses. But Parikshit Maharaj was not satisfied, so he wanted to ask more questions. So here in that perspective he says, Nahi asya janmano hetuhu karmano va mahipate atmamayam vineshasya parasya drashtur atmanah. O Mahipate, O my dear Parikshit Maharaj, Atma Maya Vineyasya, but for the Lord's personal desire, Nahi Yasya Janmano Hetuhu, there is no other reason for the Lord to appear in this material world. Krishna need not come to this material world to execute his duties, to kill the demons or to protect the devotees. They can be done by anybody else also. His energies can act. His time can itself act. But still, why does the Lord come here? What is the reason? He says, Karmanavo va, or even his activities. Drashtuhu Atmanaha, as a super soul, he knows everything. Drashtuhu is the witnesser. Atmanaha, he is the super soul, he knows everything. So therefore, Parasya, consequently, there is no other cause that affects him, nor even the results of the fruitive activities. He says, Yan Maya Cheshchitam Pumsaha Sthiti Utpatti Apyayahi Anugrastan Nivrutter Atma Labhaya Cheshyate. Yan Maya Cheshchitam, the Supreme Lord acts through his material energies. Right? Like Sthiti Utpatti Apyayahi, like creation, maintenance and destruction. Material universe, material body has this creation, maintenance and destruction. The Lord acts through his material energies. For what purpose he acts in this? Pumsa anugraha tar nivrittehe. To give compassion or to give merciful, pumsa anugraha. To be compassion upon the living entity and tat nivrittehe. To stop the cycle of birth and death. And Atma labhaya cha ishate. He enables the living entity to return home back to Godhead. So why does he perform all this creation and maintenance? He gives a chance for the living entity to become liberated from this material world. Then further it says, Vishurjati hrudayam nayasya sakshat harir avasabhihito api aghauga nashaha pranaya rasanaya dhruthangri padmaha sa bhavati bhagavata pradana vuktaha. Hari, who is known as Sakshat Hari, the Supreme Lord Hari, Yasya agavoga nashaha, who destroys everything inauspicious for his devotees. Agavogaha. We all have sinful tendencies of mountains category. Because from past many lives, we have been carrying these sinful tendencies, which are like a huge mountains. Agavoga nashaha, and Lord destroys them immediately. Like a thunderbolt can break the mountains to bits and pieces, so Lord will destroy all our sinful tendencies to bits and pieces. And na vishrjati hrudayam, he does not forsake our hearts. He is always there within our heart. Avasha abhihitaha, even if they remember him and chant about him inattentively also, the Lord stays in their heart. He will never forsake the devotee. Because pranaya rasanaya, this is because the rope of love, which drudha padmam, which always binds the Lord with the devotees' hearts. Even insignificant love, Lord becomes very happy. Because sa bhavati bhagavata pradana uktaha, such devotee should be acted as most elevated. So only they, devotees who are bhagavata pradanaha, for them the Lord becomes subservient. Because out of their love and affection, they bind the Lord. So similarly, see, in Krishna's perspective, whenever Pandavas were in trouble, he maintained their mentality. Whenever guidance was required, he acted as their guide. Whenever when the situation was there, the negotiations were going on, Lord went as a messenger to negotiate on behalf of the Pandavas. So he wanted to protect the Pandavas, so that's why he was physically present as a charioteer in the battlefield. Sometimes he was standing there as a gatekeeper when Pandavas were sleeping. So what not he had done? He had accepted various roles because he wanted to serve his devotees. Because he was very much pleased by their unalloyed devotion. So similarly, there was one more devotee. Today is his disappearance day, who is known as Vamshi Das Babaji. So he is also one of the Vaishnava Acharyas, coming in the Narottama Das Thakur Sampradaya. So some details about him we will try to understand. So earlier name was known as Bhairava Chandra, who took birth in the year 1859 in a village of Majidpura in current day Bangladesh. He is the eldest of the 7 children of Sanatana Malla Brahma and Srimati Sarva Sundari, their parents' name was. So on their way to their house, there is one Gaurnita temple, and there was one Babaji there by name Narottama Dasa. So he used to associate with that Babaji, and he became carried away by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. He was very much attracted to Narottama Das Thakura songs, Bhaja Hurai Mana, all that various songs. He used to always sing that songs. By singing that songs, he was becoming indifferent to this material world. He was becoming more and more in the more of like a sannyasi category. So parents feared and got him married immediately. What to do? So, but it could not stay for a long time. As soon as he had a child, one version says when the child was around 6 months or 9 months. The another version says when he was 9 years, he left his family and he accepted Babaji initiation from that Narottam Das Babaji. And he became a dedicated follower, and he started roaming everywhere around the various holy places. So even though he had a very hard life as a youth, as a Babaji he became extremely austere. He always had only a lion cloth, not covering his body, nothing more than. He never attempted to procure any food, and would often go without eating, sometimes for several days. It is common for him to abstain even from food and water for a day or two. But he is always healthy and strong. He never showed any symptoms that he had not eaten food for many days and all. Because he was in extreme ecstasy. His body was completely survived by spiritual energy. He took very little care of his health, and he would bathe in freezing water even when he was sick. Despite all this, he always looked vibrant and healthy. He was about over 6 feet tall, and he was constantly traveling. It is said that when he was 80 years old, he was walking so fast that his companions were somewhere behind. So he used to be so fast in his walking. So even amongst the Babajis, Vamshi Dasa was very unique. He was on an Avaduta platform, never bothered for bodily necessities, maintenance and all. He is completely beyond any rules and regulations. His hair and beard were uncut and matted. His eyes looked wild and his behavior was intimidating. Despite seemingly disorganized life, Vamshi Dasa had a keen sense of discrimination when it came to people. He not only shunned the company of non-devotees, he even pseudo-Vaishnavas, he never used to entertain them. Like there is in Bhakti, there is one principle: engage everything in the favorable service of the Lord, renounce everything which is not favorable. He followed the same principle. When others wanted to exploit, when they come near him, I know this Babaji, like people say, I know so and so, I know this so and so, they wanted to take credit of this Babaji. He never encouraged them. He shooed them away. He used to throw stones at them so that they never come near him. But whenever there is a pure devotee, he used to go, and when other good devotees used to come, he used to talk to them, and he used to give spiritual talks. He is so ecstatic that sometimes he used to talk Katha. From Krishna Katha, he will jump suddenly to Gaur Katha. Without any link. Suddenly he will stop the story here and he will start Gaur Katha there. Or from Gaur Katha, he will jump to something else. Or sometimes he used to talk, people could not understand what he was talking, because it doesn't make head and tail in his sentences. But in his ecstasy, he was talking. He always carried deities with him. He had 3 sets of deities. So one was small Laddu Gopal deity, Bal Gopal. He was very extremely attached to the deity. Then he had 6 inches deity of metal deities of Radha and Govinda, and a 3 feet wooden deities of Gaurnitai and one more deity, Gadadhar. So he always carried his deities with him and would constantly talk to them. His mood of affection was like an affectionate father. Like a father, he used to talk to them. Have you eaten your food? Have you slept nicely? He used to talk in that perspective. So while walking also, he used to always talk, and he used to suddenly stop, and as if he is hearing his deities are talking to him, and again continue. The next people will only think why he is stopping here. They could never hear what the deity is reciprocating to him. He was completely in ecstasy. When people used to ask questions also, he used to answer them like he was talking to his deities. He never used to do face-to-face talk. So sometimes, according to his desire, Babaji Maharaj narrated Leelas of different places in Brajamandala. Sometimes he narrated Krishna Leela, sometimes he narrated glories of Navadvipa Mandala. He used to sometimes laugh very loudly. Sometimes he madly told stories of Gaur Leela and Krishna Leela in a disjointed manner. Sometimes he used to be completely silent for long periods. He talked only with Laddu Gopal, ignoring the presence of others. Therefore, then again he would loudly call, Hey Bhaktavassala, Hey Prananada, Hey Pranavallabha. He used to call the deities. So he used to sing songs of his own composition. There is no meter, there is no standard rhythm in that songs, but which are full of love and devotion for the Lord. He hardly spoke with anyone except his deities and very few intimate people. So once when he was visiting Puri during Ratha Yatra, the cart stopped near to him, where he was standing. Lord Jagannatha's chariot was standing there. How long the people were trying to pull, it was not moving at all. Only when he finished his conversation with Lord Jagannatha, Jagannatha moved from there. So when he became too old and infirm, he would have trouble going out to do Madhukari. So one in such a situation, he told his servant, did you hear what Gauranga is saying? He told, hey Vamshi, you don't go for begging for 3 days. You are too old, I will feed you. So Prabhupada in one of the lectures he says, in Navadvipa you have heard the name of Vamshi Das Babaji. So sometimes when his things were stolen, the disciples will cry that, oh it is gone, it is stolen. He used to say, why are you bothering? One thief gives, another thief takes away. That's all. Who gave the money? He is also thief. And who took away? He is also thief. So why are you bothering? So he had, like one more place Prabhupada says, there is one devotee by name Vamshi Dasa who used to talk to his deity, like how Sanatana Goswami was talking to his deity Madan Mohan. So there was one particular episode, this Vamshi Das Babaji and a thief. So Vamshi Das Babaji had a small kutir in which he had his deities. He never used to lock the deity room. His house he never used to lock. So when people used to question him, why are you not locking your house? He said, not required. It is the responsibility of the owner to take care of the house. I am not the owner. I have 3 keys. I gave 3 keys to the 3 people inside. So one is to Laddu Gopal, the other one is to Radha Govinda, the other one is to Gaur Nitai. If they want to protect themselves, let them protect. I am not bothered. What can I do? I am not their father's servant, he used to say. So, after entrusting the lock and keys to the 3 boys, he used to go out free from anxiety. So one day when he saw a cow entered the house and turned everything topsy-turvy. And he would go and chastise the boys, Gaurnita and Gadadhar. And if someone stole something from the hut, he would say, Gaura is soft corner for Nadiya Vasis. So that's why he will not bother. He will freely give away for his associates. So somebody gave one gold necklace to Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So when Babaji went out, some thief came and stole that gold necklace. So he started scolding Gaura, asking him, to whom did you give that necklace? For 2 hours he was scolding with his, that perspective. By the evening he got a hint. He went to the house of the thief and asked him to give back that necklace. The thief pushed him down. So Babaji fell down. So Babaji got hurt, but he did not bother. He came back to the house. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became hurt. Arey, you will hurt my devotee? In the next few days, the thief along with his entire family died there. So this is the result if you offend a Vaishnava, pure Vaishnava. So once Babaji had to punish Gaur Nitai for their convenience in a theft, there were 2 brass pots which are used as boga for the Lord. One for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one for Nityananda Prabhu. So one thief came and stole away the 2 pots. So he started scolding Gaur Nitai. You give away your pots, where will I go and cook? How will I cook for you? Now unless you get your pots, you are not going to get your lunch. Then what to speak of Laddu Gopal? One cow will come and give milk to Laddu Gopal. I am not bothered. So I am only bothered for that Radha Govinda deities, because if I leave them, they will go to Vrindavan and do Madhukari. But you two people are childish. You make me run around whole day. I cannot control you. So now, unless you bring back your parts, I am not going to feed you. So now, by evening, Nityananda Prabhu's pot came back. So he cooked food in that pot and he offered to Nityananda Prabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is seeing, only he is eating, I am not eating. After a couple of hours, one more person came and gave back the pot of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then he again cooked for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he offered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then at the last, he is pleading to them, I have become old, why are you playing jokes with me? I cannot tolerate this anxiety for you. So he used to scold also, he used to compassionately take care also. So there was one Haridas Goswami who was surprised to see him. He was cooking for the deities at odd times. He never had any time schedule. Whenever he feels, he will cook. Some days he will not cook also. So there is no rules and regulations, whether he has taken bath, all that systems he never follows. So one day he was cooking at around 9 o'clock. He said to him, Baba, this is very nice. If you prepare bhoga for the deities like this every day morning. Then Babaji replied, I do not know morning or evening. I am not their father's servant to feed them at appropriate hours. If they want to lead that like that, let them go anywhere. Let them make their own arrangement. So whenever I feed, let them eat. That's it. I can't do beyond that. So that's like that. Mood was completely, it's a spontaneous devotional service. It's not under material rules and regulations. So Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj met him very nice. And Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, whenever he used to go have darshan of Babaji used to say, one who is very dear to Gaura has come to meet me. So Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj from his Gaudiya Math used to take care of Babaji's necessities. All the monthly requirements were sent through some brahmacharis. Once when the brahmacharis went, they saw one situation where Gaurnita had done one foul play. So he tied all the Gaurnita and Gadadhar with a rope and he put them in Ganga, and with one more end of the rope he is holding in his hand. Next time will you do this mistake or stop doing this mistake, then only I will pull you out of Ganga. So the disciples could not understand, what is he doing? Is he gone mad or what? He is putting deities in the water and he is punishing them. So Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, from now onwards don't go to that ashrama for some days. Only one devotee he was used to go to give the necessary ingredients and come back. After a few days, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj called them and said, I have not stopped you, that Maharaj is in some maya or not. That devotional sentiments you will not be able to appreciate when he acts in spiritual platform. So that is the perspective what we have to understand from an Acharya. When sometimes some devotees used to go and try to talk to him, he used to throw stones at them and say, the favor what you do is don't come to me, don't associate with me. Because when people try to exploit situations, he never encouraged that perspective. For those who are sincere, he used to talk through the deities. So he was scolding them. Sometimes something happened. He shouted, like one particular point was that how this situation happened, it says. So one day, one woman came there who was selling some fish. So she allured Babaji Maharaj, this is very nice fish, very good taste like that and all. At one particular point, he desired of eating fish, it seems. The next moment he realized, I am not supposed to do all these things and all. So he became so angry, then he started scolding them, the deities. You are my protector, I have surrendered unto you. Why are you taking away my consciousness into these material things? I have renounced this world. Because you have made me suffer in this consciousness, that's why now I am going to punish you. That's why he put them in water with a rope tied up. I have taken your protection and you are forsaking me now. So that is in some excessive perspective and all. So in 1944, March 17th, he came back to his town, Majidpura. He did not actually enter the town because as a sannyasi he should not go back to his maternal place. He lived there for some time, and on July 23, 1944, he concluded his earthly pastimes and resumed his services in Golok Vrindavana. So, some devotees, they do not act in material perspectives. We cannot understand by our material terms. But Lord, the Lord was reciprocating to them because they are very dear to Him by their heart. So Lord was accepting various roles for them. Like sometimes somebody is scolding also, Lord is treating that because that mood and affection what the devotee is exhibiting, the Lord became subservient to that perspective. So that's what Bhishma Deva is saying. Do not get carried away by external sentiments. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only out of his affection he is accepting a position which is inferior, but does not bring down his capacity. He is an unlimited person with unlimited capacities. So I'll stop here. Any questions at all? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंद।